Adrienne Rodriguez.
Hello.
Thank you for coming to In The Pews.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Now, you're the principal of Holy Rosary Catholic School.
Yes, in Rosenberg.
In Rosenberg. Is there another one in the Archdiocese?
There's one downtown. It's another church, another parish is Holy Rosary.
But it's not a school.
I don't think so. Yes, we're the school.
You still get telephone calls.
We do. And one time my sister actually started heading to Holy Rosary downtown.
Oh, no.
So, yes.
Oh, no. Do people show up at your school thinking it's the church?
I think mainly phone calls.
Okay.
Yes.
Because it's quite a distance.
Yes, definitely.
It's like the same thing with St. Teresa's.
Mm-hmm.
But those are two churches, right? Yeah.
Yes.
That's interesting. Well, St. Teresa also has a school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, your school is pre-K until
8th grade.
8th grade.
Yes.
How many students do y'all have?
Right now we have 160, and our goal is to grow for next year. And so I just went to a conference yesterday on enrollment management. So that'll be our focus.
160 students over how many grade
11
levels?
classes.
11 classes.
11 homeroom classes.
Okay, so that's a nice ratio. How many? What's your smallest class?
Our smallest class is 7th grade, and they have 6 or 7 students.
Oh, wow.
Right
That's
now.
a nice student to teacher ratio.
Yes.
And then your biggest class, I would assume it's one of the younger.
It's kindergarten.
Yeah.
And it's a very full and loud and fun class of 25.
25. That's still not gigantic
25.
compared to some of the public schools.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Wow, that's fantastic. How long have you been there?
A year and a half. So this is my 2nd year, and I love it.
So I understand you're a parishioner at St. Faustina as well?
I am, yes.
I didn't know that. Herm and I,
Okay, yes.
We must not have run into each other.
I know. Sometimes we'll go to the 8:30 with when our toddler was waking up really early. So it varies which mass we go to.
We know the struggle, yes, especially Herm because he still has young kids.
Yes.
My kids are already older, so. But yeah, I still remember those days when everything was dictated on what time the kids wake.
Yes, and the nap is very important. So, but yes, my husband and I did our marriage prep classes there, and then my daughter got baptized at St. Faustina.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So we love it.
Did you grow up Catholic?
I did. I grew up in Katy, and I was a member of St. Bartholomew.
St. Bart's?
Yeah,
St. Fantastic parish. Yeah, we've interviewed a bunch of people there. Yeah, so you... From your youth all the way until teens?
Yes, I did all my sacraments there, got baptized there and confirmed. And then during college, I moved to Austin area. So I attended some parishes there.
That's cool. So is your family still there at St. Bart's?
Yes, my parents and my sister, they attend.
Oh, that's great. And I'm sure you go there every once in a while. My son sings there for the morning masses.
Oh, okay.
For the Sunday masses, yeah.
The which mass?
The 9 and 11.
Oh, okay. So both.
Yeah. He's a music student right now.
Okay.
So he sings there at St. Bart's. So you might, when you visit your family there, but your schedule, I guess, depends on the kids. So.
Yes. And then it's I love to go with my family, but when my sister and I go together with our daughters, it makes it difficult for some reason. They want each other's books and toys, and it's loud, and so we're really trying to be.
And St. Bart's doesn't have a cry room right
They
now?
don't.
Yeah,
No. Yeah. So we're on the side there, just really trying to wrangle them.
So you growing up, what was your faith life like? Were your parents really involved in the parish? Were you?
Yes, I would say so. I went to CCE classes, and we didn't really have a strong youth program. I remember my confirmation classes, and that was when I was really getting to know people outside of going to mass.
Yeah.
But we attended every Sunday, and even when I had softball, sometimes I would go in my uniform, but my mom was making sure that we were going.
You just get there, even if you're in your uniform.
Yes.
That's cool. That's cool. So did you bring that with you through college, or do you kind of sway away like some kids do?
I would say some, yes. I tried to go every weekend, whether it was on Saturday or Sunday. And But it is hard. It's different. I went to Southwestern University in Georgetown, and it's a Methodist school. But it's a very small school, and a lot of people were strong in their faith. So I actually joined a Christian sorority. So I got to know different ways to worship and just explored my faith and through Bible studies, things I really hadn't done in our church. But I always went to the Catholic Church in Georgetown.
Did you ever kind of get swayed and think about converting?
No, I would say never. I just tried to also bring my perspective to the meetings, and I became the president my junior year. So, and there really weren't a lot of Catholics in the sorority. So,
did it kind of like solidify your Catholic faith because you're like looking at, your faith from a different angle? Is that how
I think
it went?
so. Yes, it did. I was always like, I'm Catholic. I want to be Catholic, and but I also wanted to grow deeper in my faith and get to know the Bible more. And I just didn't do those things growing up. As far as in the youth group, so being around that different kind of music, I really got into worship music and Christian pop, I guess.
Yes.
So I enjoyed that, and Bible studies and just different things that we did. So I enjoyed it, but I always went back to the Catholic Church. And then after graduation, I became a member of St. Thomas More in North Austin and attended there. But of course, you're young. I was young, and
of course,
it's hard being single, and how do you fit into the church? And they didn't always have the young adult programs, but
yes.
Really, I've always until now been trying to really get into the church and how do I serve and how do I just become more active than just going to mass. So that's what I've been.
And it's more of a challenge now that you have kids too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very young kids. You got your second one on the way, I understand.
Yes, we're expecting in June. And so I have an almost 2-year-old right now.
You said you stayed in Austin. That's where you found your first job?
Yes. So my first teaching job was actually at the high school that I did my student teaching in college in Round Rock.
Yes. Okay, so it was a nice transition there.
Yes.
Okay.
Very easy.
Round Rock,
not easy, but
an easy transition.
Yes.
Now,
know it.
You said Round Rock. That's where Katie, our youth minister at St. Faustina, is
really?
from. Any chance you ran into her? No.
Well, I don't know her age, but yes. So Round Rock, and that was where I stayed at that high school. Actually, only for a year or two before I moved to another district, Leander.
She said in her interview that the rock is not really that big. It's a small round.
I would say it's like the size of this table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not really.
A little less. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not tiny.
It's a big rock to me. Yes.
Okay.
And it's not fully round.
No. Well, maybe erosion or something.
Yes. So
how long were you there at that school?
At Round Rock High School only for a year, and then I went to Leander High School, and I was there for about 6 years. And I taught Spanish in AVID, which is a college prep program. Okay. So that's where I really fell in love with teaching and working with students and helping everyone. Not just, I enjoyed Spanish, teaching Spanish, but it wasn't necessarily a passion of grammar. And so with AVID, I could really get to know the students because I had them from freshman year to senior year.
So you really walk with them.
Yes.
You guide them all throughout. That's cool.
Like a mentor and sometimes mom figure. And so I really enjoyed it. And then I started my master's education during that time. And I majored in curriculum and instruction, but I was like, what am I going to do with that? I don't really want to write curriculum. And so I ended up going back for a few more classes to get my administration certificate.
Is that what brought you to Houston?
Well, not yet. Not yet. So I was always like, I'm going to be independent and be in Austin and grow up and find a husband. But I didn't. So
So you hadn't met your husband yet at that point?
No. I just focused on my career and I became an assistant principal at a middle school. Actually, 2 middle schools. I was split between the campuses.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I was like Monday, Tuesday, one, Wednesday both, and then Thursday, Friday the other one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was interesting, but I learned a lot right in 6 months. And I think at the end of the year, I went to one of the campuses full time. So that was my first time in middle school with 6th grade students. And I was just used to teaching high school, and became an AP for middle school. And so it's like 6th graders are just coming out of elementary.
Oh, my gosh, the immaturity of those kids.
I'm learning how to navigate that. And the tears were new for me.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because you'd always done high school. Oh, boy.
Yes. And then now being on the AP side, you deal with the discipline and helping people get through mistakes and all of that. And so there were those tears and just figuring out how to do that. But I really enjoyed it. And there was a time where I was like, I want to get back to high school. And I always enjoyed the football and the extracurricular and the supporting students in that way and their talents outside of the classroom. So there was a new high school opening, and I became the freshman AP for that new high school. And so
What high school is this?
Glen High School in Leander. And that was a whole experience of helping to build a school from the ground up, start a culture, and hire everyone. And so I worked for an amazing principal there and just really learned so much. But there was always that tug of coming home.
Oh.
And so I just was like, when do I make the move? Should I go now? I just started this job, but I ended up in 2017 applying for a job over here in Fort Bend. And I went back to middle school, and I became an associate principal.
So this whole time that you were in Austin by yourself, your family's not there with you. Did your faith kind of go on the wayside a little bit because you're focused very much on your career?
I would say no. I always attended Mass. My mom just instilled that in me so much.
She didn't have to give you some calls to remind you?
Well, yes, she did, especially early 20s, yes. Always, I would say even now, she asks, what time did y'all go to Mass today?
Come to think of it, my mom does that too.
Yes, so no, it didn't, I would say, but I was always just that longing to, how do I get closer to God, and what else can I do? And but yes, I enjoyed my time there. St. Thomas More was a great community, and but I didn't really get connected with people as far as friends and get to know them and go to Mass together. I was always by myself, and so I think that also made me want to come home and just be able to go to church with my family and
people you've grown up with too.
Yes, and have familiar faces, and so yes.
That's where your roots are. That's why,
definitely.
So you wanted to go back. Now, did you have any issue, because we recently interviewed the principal of Cathedral High School, and he said that when he was in the public education system, he said he had an issue with internally had an issue with trying to because you have to kind of separate your faith in a way because you can't talk about it at school with the kids. And did you have any difficulty that way?
Definitely, yes. One thing really comes to mind is I wanted to put a cross. It wasn't even a crucifix, but it was one of those window crosses where there was glass, and so the light would come through. And I put it on my window, and my principal, who I love, and she's amazing, and she's a huge mentor for me. But she said, "Are you allowed to put that there?" And I was like, why not? It's like wearing a cross around my neck. And so I left it there, and that's where my stubbornness came out. But yes, I definitely was always conflicted especially when you're having those conversations with students and helping them get through mistakes and, what have your parents taught you and what are the right things to do? I always wanted to bring that in, and it was hard. But there was a point in my life where, and I would say probably just 5 years ago, where I said, I don't care. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to say it. And I remember my first principal job I went back. So I came back to Houston, and then I was an associate principal for a few years, and then I applied to be a principal in Jarrell, which is a small town north of Georgetown.
Okay.
And I remember a student saying something throughout our conversation. He had made a poor choice, and he said, well, I know that God wouldn't want me to do this. And I started crying. I, started tearing up because I was like, oh, finally I can talk about it. And I, just opened the door. Yes. And I would say throughout all of my career and schooling, I thought about Catholic schools and serving in a Catholic school, but I always said, I don't have the experience. They're not going to hire me. So I didn't
What
want to.
experience do you think you didn't have?
Well,
because you taught, you were an assistant principal, you were a principal.
Yes.
So
being in a Catholic school and knowing the ins and outs, and so I thought I needed to be an assistant principal again. So I was like, I don't really want to do that, and so this is a crazy story, but I knew I wanted to come back home, or we wanted to come back home. So when I was a principal in Jarrell, my husband and I moved there, but then I got pregnant. And so I was like, right away, I wanted to come back to Houston and be with my family. So I started, it was late when I started applying, and I just started an application in the Archdiocese system. And I was like, there's no way. But so I started, like, you can tell when people have submitted some of the paperwork, but not all of it. So I had my name in there. It was in the system, but I kind of just let it be because I was like, they're not going to hire me for
So you didn't
principal.
complete the application?
I didn't complete it. And I had completed a different one for an assistant principal at another Catholic school. But again, I wanted to, I had been a principal for a year, and I wanted to continue in that role. So one night, very late, I remember that I had just gone to the graduation for the high school in Jarrell, and I was up either pumping or preparing milk for my daughter because she was like 3 months. And it was like midnight, and I just was checking my email, and I received an email from the superintendent of Catholic schools that said, I see your name in the system. Are you going to complete the application? And I was like, what? And I didn't know at the time that it was a superintendent writing me. I thought it was, just somebody that deals with applications.
Yeah,
and so I was
like a clerk or something.
Yes. So I responded and I said, well, yes, I am going to complete it. And we exchanged maybe 3 or 4 emails that night in the middle of the night. And so by maybe 2 a.m., I had an interview scheduled for the next couple days. So it was the Holy Spirit and leading me and guiding me to this position. And so, yes, I interviewed and came home and interviewed, and it all worked out, and we moved back.
If you didn't stay up and be a good mom and prepare milk, you wouldn't have had that whole conversation via email. If you had just sent it in the morning, he would have been busy, and who knows how it would have turned out.
Oh, yes. It just really, I'm just so thankful and blessed that, one, our superintendent is extremely hardworking and worked, throughout the middle of the night, because they had been without a principal for six months at least.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So they had gone through rounds of interviews already. And so
that's the job.
Well,
that was
yes.
it? Or
yes. So
school?
I came and I did, no, that's the job. That's Holy Rosary.
Okay.
But I came and I did a Zoom interview, and then an in-person, maybe 1 or 2 in-person interviews, and visited the campus. But the funny thing is I didn't know about Holy Rosary. Growing up in Katy, I feel like Rosenberg is just kind of down the way.
Yes.
And I didn't know about it, that it was so close. So, and we had already bought a home, and it was very close to our home. So, the commute was great. And just everything fell into place.
That's fantastic. So you said that you dropped in, you had your first child and all of that. Where did you meet your husband?
Here, whenever I was working for Fort Bend, I became good friends with my counselor partner. So APs and counselors take over a grade level together. And we became great friends, and I started hanging out with her on the weekends and her friend group. And, with my age, all of my friends are married and have kids. And so I just hung out with them, and she was like, "Oh, we have this friend," and for 3 years I was like, "No."
Oh wow,
no.
Really? They've been trying to set you up for 3 years.
That's when we met in 2017, and then it wasn't until 2020 that we started dating. So it was kind of like I was like, "No, that's okay," and then he would. Well, then I was like, "Oh, maybe we'll go on a date," and then at that point he was like, "No." It was interesting.
So he brought up the idea, and it only paid off 3 years later.
Yes. But I was
Very
the one who came
man.
back. I was the one who said, "Hello, how are you?" So we would hang around, within the group. But God was preparing me all that time
for the right time.
Yes, the right time, the right person.
That's fantastic. Did he grow up Catholic as well?
He did. Yes, at going to St. Teresa in Sugar Land.
Okay, not St. Bart's.
No. I mean, and it's really funny. We have a lot of things that kind of connect us or connect our families, but we didn't know each other until then. And
what year did you get married?
2021.
2021.
Yes.
So right after the pandemic, did you have to was that the time when some people kind of postponed their reception?
They did, yes.
Did you do that?
No. I mean, we were already old, and so we just decided to go for it. We actually got married in Bernie. So at that point, I was going to St. Lawrence, and we didn't have a parish together, and I didn't, of course I love St. Bart's, but it wasn't like I didn't think growing up I want to get married there, and because I wanted it to be for both of us.
Yeah. And it's kind of your parents' parish too.
Yes. So we thought about it, and he has good family friends in Bernie, and we visited, and the church, St. Peter the Apostle's beautiful. It's a very different sanctuary as far as it's in the middle. So all the seats are around, and the altar is in the middle.
Okay.
But it's beautiful. It's in the hill country, and so we got married in Bernie.
So your parish as a married couple, where did you first start going?
Well, we were here in Houston area, so we did our engagement classes at St. Faustina.
So at this point, St. Faustina already had the building, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay, so that's where you guys did your marriage prep classes.
Yes, with Deacon Randy.
So
he was our first meeting, and we met with him a few times, and then we had Zoom classes where we went through the book, and that was still when we were engaged. And then I guess we were assigned the sponsor couple before as well. So that was all through St. Faustina.
Who was your sponsor couple?
At St. Faustina, it was Cecilia and Eduardo Espinola.
Okay.
Yes.
And they were with you throughout the whole process?
Yes. It was, I would say, at least 10 classes, 10 meetings.
10 physical meetings.
We would go to their home, and we would go through a book. So we would do some prep beforehand and then discuss it there. Of course, we would open in prayer, and they would just share their experiences and kind of give us some advice, and it would make us ask each other questions that we might not talk about otherwise.
Or you wouldn't even think about until later on in the marriage. Okay, wow.
Yes.
How are you paired up with the couple?
I don't really know, but one thing I do think that maybe they looked at our names and Rodriguez and just thought, Garcia and Rodriguez, thought they're Spanish speaking, like native speakers. And so at first they started speaking Spanish to us, and my husband doesn't really speak it. So we're like, well, English is our first language. But that was totally fine. So I don't know how they do it. I'm mean, I'm assuming that we fill out some questionnaire, and
there may be something there in common, or who knows?
Yes.
Maybe they have, when you fill out the questionnaire, maybe they have the couples look and see who are you interested in,
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. So we really enjoyed it, and I actually see them at St. Bart's a lot. So,
so they go to both.
I think so.
Parishes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Yes.
That's cool. So how was that whole experience with the 10 weeks, huh?
Yes. I mean, different, because you're sharing some deep personal thoughts with new people, and so that's different. But I just tried to be really open and open to their advice, because it's also unique that it's outside of the family, outside of friends, people that know you. They're just sharing their experience of marriage, and but you know what? Nothing prepares you. Nothing prepares you for
the actual.
Just the situations that come up, and I mean, it's like, gosh, you could spend 2 years in marriage prep, you know. So
I guess it's kind of like being a soldier. You get all the best training, but once you're in the trenches, it's a whole new ball game.
Yes.
But at least you got the preparation.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So would you recommend that?
Oh, yes, definitely. And just like I said, talking about things that you wouldn't normally talk about. And yes, it might seem like, oh, we're filling this paper out, or we're answering these questions, and sometimes it sounds silly, but I mean, it's, talking about finances and children and how you would discipline, and also talking about how you were raised, and, what you're going to bring to the table is important. So yes, I would definitely recommend.
I wish I had gone through something like that. My wife and I, we got married in the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
She's from the Philippines, so we didn't go through like a whole thing. It was just like a 1-day seminar at the church, and then they gave us questions to go home with. So we just went through that together. But it would have been nice if there was a couple, especially.
Yes.
I see the logic behind a couple that you're not related to, because I think it's sometimes a little easier.
Yes.
To get the advice?
Yes.
Is it?
And listen and be open to what they have to say, because they're not that our family judges, but they're not bringing that perspective to it. They're just sharing how they went through things and what they would do and what they would recommend.
Yeah, and also because, you might know some of the history behind some of your family's things.
Yes,
so
true.
It's a little different.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you may already have opinions, whereas
we don't know, their situation really,
so
or their whole family.
Purely objective.
Yes.
On that part.
So, yes, no, we really enjoyed it.
So you went through the marriage prep, and then you had the wedding out of town.
Yes.
And then St. Faustina, your daughter, got baptized there.
Yes.
Who did the baptism?
It was another deacon.
Is it Deacon Ray? Deacon Ernie.
It's just I have, my memory's very, very bad.
There are a whole bunch of deacons there. So.
But yes, it was a deacon. So it was one of the classes where it was a large group of babies.
Oh yeah.
And so.
Or was it a transitional deacon? It might have been a younger.
I want to say that I have an acolyte in mind that he was there also.
Probably assisting.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess I don't know why that stands out.
Was it Pitcher? Bald gentleman?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, we've had him on the show.
So.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
yes.
He and his wife, we've had them on the show.
Oh, nice.
Pitcher Allendorf, yeah.
Okay. So, yes. So, baptized, and we go to mass there, and I recently became a part of the moms group at St. Faustina, but I'm really learning that it's hard to balance working and a toddler mom, and then going to events. And so my goal is during Lent that I'm going to host an evening book study. Yes, for the mom group.
That's nice.
Yes. So
now that you're, the whole bunch of challenges being, the principal of a school and being a parent of a young child, and also now you're, you were just focused before on, raising the kids in your school. Now you've got one at home.
Yes.
Is it a bit of a challenge?
Whole new world, whole new perspective too. I really prided myself on caring for kids and treating the kids like they were my own, the students. But you really don't know until you're in it. And just that natural feeling that comes out of wanting to do the best and have the best for your own child. And so it's really helped me just with the perspective of considering other parents and dealing with certain situations. And I would say the empathy has just expanded so much. I'm pretty, I would say, driven, type A, and this is the rule. And so there were times probably where I didn't understand from their perspective, but now I really am like, okay, let me put my daughter in this situation, and just how would I respond and how would I want to be considered? As the parent,
you can put yourself in their emotional state, and psychological. Yeah, wow.
But I also have that perspective of being in education for 16, 17 years, and I know the other side of it too. So I have to make this decision that's best for everyone.
Yeah, so you can look at it from different angles because you've had the different experiences as a single person, as a mom.
Yes. And being in elementary is also a whole new world. And I really think God placed me in an elementary during my first pregnancy with my daughter to prepare for her because, being in high school, middle school, it's just different. They're older and they're past all these learning stages. I mean, they're still learning so much, but the formative years. So being in elementary and it was a lot. I learned so much, and I was so thankful for that year in Gerald to prepare and to even to know things like how should you teach them to read and what things should you do at home to prepare them for pre-K and kinder, and so it's amazing the difference.
Moving from the public school system to the private school, what are the huge differences?
Oh, so many. I tell people all the time, there's so many differences, and there's pros, but there's also cons on both sides. And maybe not cons, but just things that growth areas. That's what we use in education. Areas for growth. Public school, there's money, federal funds, and there's staff. And people who are listening might be like, well, no, we don't have staff for this, or we don't have this, but there is. And, I was at a 6A high school. I was the associate principal, and there were 7 APs and then the principal. So we had a full team of admin staff. And to operate a school and a school community, whereas here I am at a pre-K through 8. Now it's, of course, extremely smaller, and we don't do near as many things, but I'm still doing the same things on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
Operating a school, the budget, maintenance, staff, students, parents. So that was a huge difference, and something that I'm really learning how to balance my time, how to prioritize, and be creative. And sometimes I just have to say to myself, it's okay that you don't do this because you have to do this. And whereas, in public school, I had my roles and responsibilities very, very detailed out and very, I would say, honed in.
Yeah, very specific.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of anything and everything. I mean, I've just in the past, with maintenance, that's a huge thing that I didn't have experience with because there was either a whole custodian department or a maintenance department for the district.
Yes.
I was always used to calling somebody to get guidance.
Yeah.
And now there's really nobody to call. I mean, there's people to call in the Archdiocese, of course, in the Catholic Schools office. And of course, I consult my pastor all the time. But at the end of the day, I'm the one that's calling the electrician or the plumber, and that's different.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So those kind of things are a huge difference. But the fundraising and the financial aspect of it, I wish I would have had a degree in, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You can get a degree in...
well, I don't know, but they need to. I need to. I mean, I feel like to be prepared to take on how to manage the budget, how to fundraise, how to manage enrollment and admissions. And I mean, that's what we have to do because we don't have the main source of income is tuition. And so if you don't have kids, then you can't pay teachers.
Yeah.
So every year it's new, and every year it's, okay, are we going to have this many students sign up for this class in order to have this teacher?
Yeah.
And so I'm just learning a lot, and I just feel like I have so much work to do to make it amazing that I can learn to make it amazing. And I mean, it is a wonderful community, but in my mind, and I guess my level of this is where it needs to be, or where I want to be.
You want it to be, yeah.
Yes. There's just so many things, so many ideas that I have, and so, but first things first. And so I as just like I was talking about the conference that I went to yesterday on enrollment management and bringing in students, and I mean, that's the most important thing. If you don't have students, then you don't have a school.
Do you get to the point where you're like, oh, we've got a 7th grader?
Yes.
Yes. Just
definitely.
one 7th grader makes a huge difference or something like that.
Oh, for sure. Yes. I mean, we've had a lot of tours in this last month or two, and it's like, okay, what are the grades for the kids, and how do we recruit, and where do we go, and who do we talk to? And so I mean, didn't do that in public school. There's no part of that, and so yes, it's just a huge learning curve there, but I like it.
We just recently interviewed the president of Cathedral High School. So they have the president principal model. Is there any chance that, Holy Rosary will take that on in the future when you have like a very large population?
Well, I don't know if that's for elementaries as far as the model. Right now as the principal, I'm the administrator. So there's potential for hiring an assistant principal and other
You don't
staff.
even have an assistant principal?
No.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So it is only me, and then I have an admin assistant and office staff. But no, it's based on the numbers, and how many enrollment, and then of course our budget.
Of course, yeah. Everything comes back down to a budget. So do you mentioned that you have you are in talks with a pastor?
Oh yes.
And is there a board as well?
Yes. So Father Oren is there at Holy Rosary, and we work closely together. We meet every week. We talk through decisions and just touch base. And then we have an advisory school council. And so that is made up of a group of community members, but right now mainly parents of the school. And then the president is a former parent of Holy Rosary.
Okay.
Yes.
And then so Father Oren of the Holy Rosary Catholic Church.
Yes.
So it's together.
Yes. Yes, it's the parish. So, and there's also a mission church in Beasley, St. Wenceslas, and then the school and the church as one parish.
When your students graduate, 8th grade, they eventually go to, the high schools.
Yes.
Yeah. Where do the majority of your kids go to?
So many of them will apply to St. John the 23rd in Katy because of the location.
Yes.
And then some do apply to Strake or St. Agnes. But, it depends if they live out here in Richmond, Rosenberg. And a lot of them do go to their local school district, their local public high school. So it kind of just depends.
How old is the school?
So it was actually founded in 1941 by Dominican sisters.
Wow.
Yes.
Over 80 years. 1941.
Yes.
Are the sisters still there?
They're not. We don't have sisters. Father and I have actually been talking about that, how to bring a nun onto campus, whether it's as a teacher or a staff member. But they're not. The Dominican sisters aren't there.
But still, wow.
Yes.
Like pre-World War II.
Yes. A very rich tradition of history and family and Catholic education.
Just in the Rosenberg communities.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
I feel like it's a diamond in the rough. I didn't really know about it when
I
was in, I didn't, growing up in Katy down the road, I didn't know that there was this school there in Rosenberg. So it's a very tight-knit community, but also, our focus is growth. And so how do we... Well, right now, our focus and our motto is shine bright. How do we shine Jesus's light and shine bright for others in the community so that they can see the good deeds that we do, and also we spread those throughout our community. So.
Now, you said that the school is a very old school. Do you have some teachers that have been there for a long time? Yes.
So they love it. When they get to Holy Rosary, nobody wants to leave because it is such a great community. And we have a kindergarten teacher who's been there for over 30 years.
30 years?
Yes.
Wow.
She's teaching students that she taught their parents.
Wow.
Yes.
That's fantastic. And the different generations of...
Oh, yes.
Like it's that whole Mr. Holland's Opus thing.
Oh, they love it. They love her. Yes. She's famous.
Wow. Now, if somebody wants to, if they're interested in enrolling their child at a Holy Rosary Catholic School, how do they go about it?
Well, so many people come to our school for a tour first, and they get to know our campus. It's a beautiful campus of over 27 acres. And so we tour them, and they then can apply online, actually. So you just go to holyrosary-school.org, and you can go to the admissions tab, or it's right there on the home page, and you fill out your application online. But of course, we can help you through any questions you have. You just call the main school line.
So if they want just the tour, can they just call up?
They can just call.
Is there a schedule?
No, actually, right now we're just kind of what works for the families.
Okay.
We would like to do. We have a lot of more time on Wednesday and Thursdays to do those tours, but if we work with the families and whatever they can do. I'm actually having a coffee and conversation next Friday to welcome prospective families and just have a meeting with them and talk with them about our school and see if they have questions, because this time right now is the re-enrollment for our current families, and then soon we'll open it up to new families.
And then what was that website again?
holyrosary-school.org.
Okay, holyrosary-school.org. And then I assume there are also social media accounts where you post all this stuff.
We have an active Facebook account and then Instagram. So all that information is there.
It's posted there as well. So
yes.
that gets updated if there are any events that they want to look out for.
Definitely. Yes,
okay.
We would love to welcome you to our Diamond in the Rough school and see how everyone else can help us shine bright.
Now, does your school also take donations?
Oh, we do, always. Yes. And so whether it's through parishioners at the church, with their envelopes, or you can just go online and there's a donate button right on our homepage to donate and support. We have an annual fund going on, throughout this year, the Bright Futures Annual Fund. They can donate to that. They can donate to something specific that they would like to, whatever they indicate. We'll make sure it goes to that. So yes, we're always taking donations.
Can you set up like a scholarship or something for one student?
Well, if that's how somebody wants to give, yes, we can work with them to do that. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you.
Telling your story and telling us about this Diamond in the Rough school that you have.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me.
And best of the luck with with your growing daughter and then your upcoming child. Do you know if it's a boy or a girl?
We don't know yet. No, yes. My husband wants to know. I kind of want to keep it a surprise, but everybody around wants to know. So I'm sure we'll find out in a couple weeks.
Please do let us know when you do find out.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see you around the church.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You too. Thank you.